Hi, I'm Phil and I like to build stuff. When I left off of the project last, the problem that I had was I had made the miter stand too tight. It won't fit the saw. I also wanted it to be taller than what it actually came out at, and I needed a place to attach my hinges. Effectively, I made it too small. So now I need to make some changes. This video is really just a way to show how my process moves from the measurements to a sketch and from the sketch to what I'm going to build. So I start out with an initial base outside of 18 1/4. I'm going to add 2 3/4 inch pieces to each side, so I'm going to end up with 19 3/4, which is plenty of room for the saw. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a piece that slides on the outside of the existing stand so that I can actually mount the hinges to the outside, and I'm going to go ahead and put the base on a stand which is more appropriately 19 3/4 inches wide, plenty of room for the stand. I can bolt through into the bottom of that piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and I got the 2 wings where I want them, right at the height of the base of the saw, not the base, the platform of the saw. I acknowledge that I'll have this funny little space that's like 2 and something inches, but I can use that for maybe for blades or templates or maybe clamps or something. The sides are going to be up at about 2 7/8, or maybe, well, anywhere between 2 3/4 and 2 7/8. 2 3/4 is the actual dimension. 2 7/8 is a little bit higher. That gives me the ability to maybe shim up the bottom or level up the bottom of the saw if I want to. I saw that on somebody else's build of the miter station. The 6-inch panels on the side give me plenty of room to put my collapsible bracket hinges on. These are foldable hinges that allow me to be able to put the wings down when I want to and leave them up firmly supported when I want to. I can also glue the 3/4 inch ply to the existing, just giving it additional support, and plenty of room for small screws at the top and long screws at the bottom, or even a bolt through if I wanted to. So now I'm centering in on what I've got. So I've got this sort of H-shaped piece where the base of the saw is actually sitting on a piece of plywood that is sitting on the top of the existing miter saw station. What's kind of interesting is I just did again what was the problem in the last part of the other build. The way I've drawn this, it doesn't look like what it really is. See, it's 23 inches front to back and 19 3/4 side to side, which is much closer to square than it is the way I've drawn it. So it was really deceptive when I did it the other time, and really messed with me in terms of where I put my pocket screws. I think I'm going to do pocket screws on this one again, so I want to get this a little more squared up. The sides are pretty simple, 23 inches by 6 or 6.5, whatever I decide to do over there. They'll get in there. The top piece I will put at exactly that 2 7/8 or 2 3/4, whatever I decide to do. So now that I've got the size of this piece pretty well figured out, I can move on, sort of establish what my cut list looks like, or exactly what I'm going to cut out of a chunk of plywood. Normally I will just make it the width of what I am working on, so 23 inches, and then I'll show what the other 2 pieces are, labeling them as top or side or whatever they are, so that I don't have any question about what it's going to be. Now I've got it pretty well established what it is I'm going to do. The only issue that remains is whether or not I'm just going to go ahead and use 30.5 as the top, or if I'm going to have to route out the bottom piece, the bottom of the top pieces. I think I'm going to leave it the way it is.